Homework sheet U11d question 9 part 1. We need to find the integral of natural log of x over 2 with respect to x. Although it doesn't look it, this is actually an integration by parts question, even though we don't really have two parts. We want to set u equal to the natural log of x over 2 and dv dx equal to 1. I can then differentiate the natural log of x over 2. Natural log of anything is 1 over that thing, so I get a fraction over x over 2. And by the chain rule, I then need to times it by the differential of x over 2, which is just half. And half over x over 2 simplifies to 1 over x. If dv dx is equal to 1, v is equal to x. I can then use my integration by parts formula to get uv x log x over 2 minus the integral of v times du dx, which is x over x, 1. This then gives me x log x over 2 minus the integral of 1, which is just x, plus c. In part 2, we now have to integrate sine squared x with respect to x. This requires trig identities. If we start with the fact that cos 2x is equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared x, I can rearrange this identity. 2 sine squared x is equal to 1 minus cos 2x, so sine squared x is equal to half minus half cos 2x. If I make this replacement in my integral, I now have two things that I can integrate without any problem at all. Integral of half is half x. The integral of half cos 2x is, so the integral of minus half cos 2x is minus a quarter sine 2x. Cos 2x integrates to sine 2x, but I have to do the reverse chain rule to also times that by a half, which is where the quarter comes from. I still have my limits as before, pi by 2 and pi by 4. And if I plug these in, I get pi by 4 minus a quarter sine pi minus pi by 8 plus a quarter sine pi by 2. And if I simplify these, pi over 4 minus pi by 8 is pi by 8. Sine pi is 0, so that term disappears. Sine pi by 2 is 1, so I add a quarter.